A man is dying, and he reaches the point of greatest physical distress. He hears himself pronounced dead by his doctor. You remember the woman in the video, she heard him say to her husband, "Come back tomorrow, we'll give you the death papers," you know. He begins to hear an uncomfortable noise, a loud ringing or buzzing. And at the same time, he feels himself moving very rapidly through a long tunnel. After this, he suddenly finds himself outside of his own physical body, but still in the immediate physical environment. And he sees his own body from a distance, as though he is a spectator. He watches the attempt to resuscitate his body from this unusual vantage point and is in a state of emotional upheaval. After a while, he collects himself and becomes more accustomed to his odd condition. He notices that he still has a body, but it's not the body that's lying down there. We'll discuss this in a moment. But one very different, of a very different nature and very different powers from the physical body he has left behind. Soon, other things begin to happen. Others come to meet him and to help him. He glimpses the spirits of relatives and friends who have already died, a loving, warm spirit of a kind he has never encountered before. A being of light appears before him. So he has either relatives and or a being of light. This being asks him a question non-verbally to make him evaluate his life, and helps him along by showing him a panoramic, instantaneous playback of the major events of his life. At some point, he finds himself approaching a sort of barrier or border, apparently representing the limit between earthly life and the next life. Yet he finds that he must go back to earth, that the time for his death has not yet come. At this point, he resists, for by now he is taken up with his experiences in the afterlife and does not want to return. He is overwhelmed by the intense feelings of joy, love, and peace. Despite his attitude, though, he somewhat reunites with his physical body and lives. Later, he tries to tell others, but he has trouble doing so. In the first place, he can find no human words adequate to describe these unearthly episodes. He also finds that others scoff, so he stops telling other people. Still, the experience affects his life profoundly, especially his views about death and his relationship to life. So what happens? He leaves the body, he experiences his energy body, or his astral body, and we'll discuss what qualities that body has. He meets relatives or beings of light, and he goes through an exam. These are three of the first experiences that will happen. And if we know about this and we are ready, then we can approach all of these experiences much more effectively and go through the whole process much more quickly. What does Alice Bailey say? Or what do the spirits which speak through Alice Bailey say concerning the death process? They say that the vital energy begins to withdraw itself from the limbs, and the arms and the feet become cold. And the energy is focused here in the chakras, in the energy centers along the spine, from the coccyx to the head. Then as the being begins to withdraw even more, this energy focuses on the specific chakra which represents that being's level of consciousness. Okay? So if this person has been functioning basically out of the second chakra or the third chakra, chasing after pleasure or chasing after power, the energy, his soul, if you like, with the energy body, will leave from that aperture, from that hole from the body, and in the next incarnation, it will start out there. It will enter the body at that level. Because according to all of the sources, evolution takes place basically only on the earth. Evolution can take place on other levels, but when we are finished with the earth. I mean, you can't go to the university if you haven't finished grammar school. Okay? Earth is grammar school. It's considered one of the lowest levels of evolution. Yeah? So Earth is grammar school, and we have to finish grammar school before we can move on to any other higher education. So the energy leaves from that part of the body. And this energy contains within it the characteristics of this person, their physical characteristics, their emotional characteristics, and their mental, which are deposited in the causal body, according to Alice Bailey. And then those, in addition to all of the qualities accumulated from the previous lives, dictates the next incarnation. The nature of the physical body, the nature of the emotional body, and the nature of the mental body. And of course the environment dictates the environment of that incarnation, which will bring those qualities to the surface, so that the soul can then work with them and evolve. Now let's hear one of the descriptions by one of Moody's patients about his death experience, which is very similar to what you saw. I pulled on out into the intersection, and as I did, I heard my friend yell at the top of his voice. When I looked, I saw a blinding light, the headlights of a car that was speeding towards us. I heard this awful sound, the side of the car being crushed in, and there was just an instant during which I seemed to be going through a dark and enclosed space. It was very quick. Then I was sort of floating about 5 feet above the street, about 5 yards away from the car, I'd say, and I heard the echo of the crash dying away. So he's not focused in the physical realm of sound anymore. The sound is disappearing, you see. I saw people come running and crowding around the car. I saw my friend get out of the car, obviously in shock. I could see my own body in the wreckage among all those people, and could see them trying to get it out. My legs were all twisted, and there was blood all over the place. People were walking up from all directions to get to the wreck. I could see them, and I was in the middle of a very narrow walkway. Anyway, as they came by, they wouldn't seem to notice me, and they just kept walking with their eyes straight ahead. As they came real close, I would try to turn to get out of their way, but they would just walk through me. Okay? We've seen this in the movies many times, perhaps. So this big experience that he has this body, he has this energy body, which can see and can hear, but cannot be seen nor heard, except by certain psychic persons who have this ability. But 99% of the people cannot see this body or hear it. But this body can see and hear on the physical realm, especially for the first days after the departure. At some point, of course, it serves no purpose for the soul to be focused on the physical realm and to hear and to see, and it departs and connects with other realities, and we will discuss that. Okay. Let's hear what Seth has to say about this new body that we will have, this new energy or astral body. This form will seem physical. It will not be seen by those still in the physical body, however, generally speaking. It can do anything you can do now in your dreams. Therefore it flies, it goes through solid objects, it is moved directly by your will, taking you, say, from one location to another, as you may think of these locations. So there's instantaneous travel. much nicer body than the ones that we have now. You can fly, you can go through objects, you can transport yourself anywhere you want. If you wonder what Aunt Sally is doing, say, in Poughkeepsie, New York, then you will find yourself there. This is one thing I try to tell people. They don't have to go to the graveyard to pray for their loved ones. Their loved ones are not in the graveyard. Their loved ones are, for the first days anyway, wherever there are people emotionally connected with them. It's the emotional connection. Unless that soul is very attached to its physical body, it just doesn't want to let go of it, but this is a very seldom situation. You cannot pick up a lamp or throw a dish, as you see in the movies, okay? This body is yours instantly, but it is not the only form you will have. For that matter, this image is not a new one. It is interwound in your physical body now, but you do not perceive it. This energy body or astral body is what is creating our physical body at this moment. Our physical body is nothing more than the creation of this energy astral body, which is a creation of the mental body. It just simply removes itself, and then so this body starts to decompose. Following death, it will be the only body you are aware of for some time. This some time depends on the amount of attachment of the individual. The more attached we are to the physical realm, the longer it takes us to go through the second death process of letting go of this form and letting go of our mind. The less attached we are, the more quickly we go through this process and we go to higher dimensions, you see. It's possible for a soul to be attracted to the earth for 500 years, simply because he refuses to accept death. And he keeps trying to have contact with the physical level without going through the process of dying to the mental level so that he can create a new body and reincarnate. He tries to have contact with the astral body that he has. Whereas an advanced soul will say, destroy the physical body, destroy the emotional, and go off. Much later, and on many levels, you will finally learn to take many forms as you choose consciously. In one manner of speaking, you do this now, you see, translating your psychological experience, your thoughts and emotions, quite literally, but unconsciously, into physical objects. Everything in our reality, not only our body, but our house, our car, our family, everything around us, in a way, is a manifestation of our mental state. You may find that when you imagine yourself as a child after death, that you suddenly have the form of the child that you were. For a certain period of time, therefore, you can manipulate this form so that it takes any appearance that it had when it was connected with your physical form in the immediately previous physical life. You may die at 80, and after death think of the youth and vitality that you had at 20, and find then that your form changes to correspond this inner image, as we do in our dreams. Most individuals after death choose a more mature image that usually responds to the peak of their physical abilities, regardless of the age when the physical peak was reached. Others choose instead to take the form that they had at a particular point when the greatest emotional or emotional heights were achieved, regardless of the beauty or age characterized by the form.